Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 720 System Strategy call. This month, we're talking about lead follow-up, and the purpose of this call is to share with you my insight on how I look at lead follow-up. Some of this we do for our clients, and some of the clients just we're not doing this. But if you want to incorporate it yourself, you should incorporate it. That's the purpose of this session. I'm going to start with sharing my screen, and as you can see, so lead follow-up in the consumer bankruptcy business, that's where our focus is. If you want to ask questions, raise your hand or just speak up. This is being recorded if you want to show it to your partners or staff afterwards. So the whole thing about consumer bankruptcy and lead follow-up, it's complex, right? It's complex because of the lead flow. And I was thinking about visualizing this and like think about this so column A is the filings per month at a 40% file conversion rate, right? So if you're filing 5 a month, you're getting about 13 leads a month. So in month 1, you have 13 leads, 2, 25, 38, all the way going up. At a small firm of 5 filings a month, I mean, after a year, you got 150 people to follow up with. It's just practically impossible, right? That's at 5 a month. Imagine at 10, 20, and 40. And the purpose of these numbers, some people right now are thinking to themselves, because I hear it often, well, I mean, 40% is a low conversion rate, right? Oh my God, my intake conversion is like 90%. I hear this every week from different attorneys. But I'm talking about building a practice that you can scale little by little by little. I'm not talking about like building a past client referral business. How can you scale past clients referral or referral sources? You can't do it. So this is done through marketing. And the problem with lead follow-up in consumer bankruptcy, it's daunting. Why is it daunting? Because many leads aren't emotionally ready to file. You guys all know that, right? I mean, they called, either they don't have the money, they're checking out bankruptcy. And those who are ready to file, they've most likely been thinking about it for months, right? They've checked it out, trolled the websites, figured it out months before. So what I want to do is talk about various steps for effective lead follow-up, right? And some of this is very, very basic. I get it, but I'm just going to review it so you can understand how we think of it. And we can go from there. I mean, the first thing is the long game of consumer bankruptcy. I've said that so many times on these calls. Consumer bankruptcy is the long game, and if you're patient with it, it'll come back. And I know many of you who do our emails drip sequence, you see that. I'm going to show examples shortly. So when you do that, you're going to need some type of software, right? Constant Contact, MailChimp. Obviously, you don't need that software if we do it for you. And the goal is to have a conversation with your debtor. I mean, I'm on many bankruptcy attorneys' lists, and they talk down at you, right? And they're like hammering you with legal conversations and legalese stuff and different between a 7 and 13. It really doesn't matter, none of it. Let them understand who you are as a bankruptcy attorney and focus on their needs, not the bankruptcy. What are their needs? They want to rebuild their life. They want to get a new car. They want to get a home. They want to provide for their kids. Okay. Getting rid of the debt is just the byproduct of what they really want. So once you have these emails and you start writing these up, you're going to start testing, right? So I was talking to a bankruptcy attorney we work with in Indiana, and she was like, "Hey, what are your thoughts on this student loan copy?" And I thought it was interesting because there's a lot of talk about student loans right now. Like I've gotten multiple feedback about student loans. And I said, well, we're going to let the copy decide. I don't know. We'll write copy. We'll put our best foot forward and we're going to test it. And we're going to see the response rate. And then we're going to send another one. And we're going to see what copy works. That's how we prove it, through what's called A/B split testing. You're sending different emails to the same group, looking at open rate, reply rate, and appointment set. Okay. So that's the second step of effective lead follow-up, right? Now, certain examples we have, I want to show you. Okay. First of all, example number 1. Now I'm using Juliana because, and Matthew here, because they've given us these emails. So they forward them to us. Now, for those of you in our lead follow-up, I don't know if you know, but the number at the very bottom, that 467 down here, that's the day they are in the sequence. Okay. So for example, this is 467 days ago, Juliana put this lead in our system. And the guy responded on October 24th. I'd like to secure an appointment to come in person. I talked to Mr. Crowley about a year ago, but then I had some personal things happen, and I'd like to talk in person, see if I can get my life back on track, right? So Juliana forwards to me and says, wow, 467 days later. This is a lead that she paid for. This is a lead that she captured. And this is a lead she saved from going to Google and finding another bankruptcy attorney, all because this guy, Chris thinks he's got a relationship with Mr. Crowley. Most likely, Michael doesn't remember him, or if he remembers him vaguely. But we've been doing this on the back end, right? Example number 2, this is, I want to share some good news. This person is on day 671 of our emails. There were no shows in January 2020, and they're coming in Friday. Just want to share the good news, right? These are simple things that go a long way. I mean, this drops directly, this profit drops directly to her bottom line. Look at this last email, save the best for last. Day 727 days in our sequence. Day 727, okay? I'm ready to take the next step. What do I need to do? I mean, this is all from emails, right? This is not from cold calling. This is not from texting. This is just dripping on them in a very casual way. Hey, it's been about 2 years since we first made contact. So I want to ask you to take stock. Is your life better than it was 2 years ago? Have your finances improved? Is your credit score improving? If the answer to these questions is a resounding yes, that's great. But if not, let's make a deal. Call me today. And this person said yes, right? My point is, it's just an important part of the process. The long game in consumer bankruptcy is in email marketing. You cannot replicate this with texting. You cannot replicate this with a phone center. No way. It's cost prohibitive. This is the easy way to do it. Okay. Any questions before I go on? Any questions regarding emails before I move on? Anybody? You can just speak up. Okay, let me jump on it. Okay, now I want to go to texting. Okay. Now there's software, Text Magic, ZipWhip, that type of thing. Now people get this texting wrong, and this is how we do it, right? We remind them, we nudge them. We don't feel like some weird friend texting you too much, right? It's reminding and nudging. Okay. Here's a couple examples. Hey, this is Rhea with Matthew Frey Law. So first of all, let me point out why we do that. You start with the name. This is Rhea from Matthew Frey, because certain phones have these spam filter blockers. And if you start with the name, it will pick up, and it says, as you've probably seen in your phone, maybe Rhea, right? So this is Rhea with Matthew Frey Law. A while back, you inquired about getting rid of debt. With unemployment payments ending, collection starting, now's the time to protect your family for creditors. Would you like to look at your options? Right? Just simple. And you're giving him some value, and you're just nudging him. Okay? Another example too. This is Ray with Matthew Frey Law. Are you struggling with your car payment? With bankruptcy, you can drop your car interest rate to 4.25%. And I don't get into the 13s and the 7s or anything like that, because frankly, it doesn't matter. I just want to see if they're emotionally ready or not. That's it. Would you like to look at your options? Okay, let me keep moving. Now, I'm on various lists of people, of bankruptcy attorneys. And there was one firm that sent me 19 text messages, or sent me the same text message every 3 days for 6 weeks. I mean, I was shocked. I was like embarrassed for him. I mean, I'm just like, are you kidding me? You're sending me the same text message? You think anyone's going to reply to this? Right? That's just not what people do. You gotta talk to them like you're talking to a friend, right? Don't ask for the appointment. Like, I mean, I see this so often. They hammer them. Hey, you want to set an appointment? You want to set an appointment? Want to set an appointment? Want to set an appointment? It's like I'm a used car dealer. No, right? We have to meet them where they are emotionally. That is what works. Okay. So don't do that with texting. The thing is the next step is segregation, right? Not all leads are created equally, clearly, right? So when you get a lead coming in, who's replying to an email? Who's setting an appointment? Who called you back, right? It's the lead segregation is key. If someone's opting in on your website or opting in on some Google form or Facebook form and not replying, they're not emotionally ready. No big deal. Drip on them. Let them be. Let them come around. It's sort of like that proverbial, how do you get a beach ball in a pool? You get a beach ball in a pool by letting it come to you. That's what we're doing with these consumer bankruptcy leads. But the next step you got to do, I mean, are you ready for this? Because this is what, like, I can't tell you how many people do not do this. You got to call them based on the follow-up, based on the responses, right? You got to call them and you don't prejudge them and you have empathy in the call. I cannot, like, I get confused when I get a client who we generate a Facebook lead for, the type of lead. We set an appointment and then they don't show up and they call me up and they're like, oh my God, they didn't show up. I'm like, yeah, they didn't show up. Maybe something happened. Well, I mean, come on. Like, it's almost like this high and mighty, like, I'm an attorney and like, I know better. My time's valuable, but you know what? This is the client and we can't judge them. But it's not where we're at. What we need to do is follow up with the hotter leads. Obviously, the people that call and the people that set an appointment have the proxy for the highest motivation. And you follow up for a certain number of time, and then we can let the emails follow up and the text messages do it after that. But I can tell you, and I believe this because, I mean, I see this all the time with bankruptcy attorneys. There's almost like an arrogance around it. I mean, it's like, hey, I don't want to follow up with them, right? And I'm just telling you, this is what I would do if I was following up. This is not something I can't do for you. I can do all the other stuff. I can't do that. Okay, so let's keep going. And here's where you're going to learn with this. You do the email protocol, you do the texting, you're going to do the phones, right? Most debtors don't file somewhere else. Okay, we've sent tens of thousands of texts, millions upon millions and millions of emails, right? Most debtors don't file other places. If you have a relationship with them and you're not hammering them with text messages or emails that are like obtrusive and like, too aggressive, they're not looking for other places. They're just not emotionally ready, and just be okay with it, right? It's that beach ball coming in, right? Most leads need 3 to 6 months to warm up from when the first time when they contact the information, when they contact the attorney. This is why we've said to you over and over and over on your website, you need a place where they can get free information. And we've tested this ad nauseum, free information on how to rebuild your life after bankruptcy. I'm going to put this in right now because it's that important. I mean, we've tested this. Free information on how to rebuild your life after bankruptcy. That's it. And don't ask for the name. I mean, I see too many of these websites. You're asking for the name. You're asking for the phone number. You're asking for appointment time. Forget it. Just ask for the email. These emails convert. These emails turn debtors who are embarrassed and unsure about bankruptcy into bankruptcy clients. Okay. And the reason why, it's a stigma of bankruptcy. I mean, let's face it. If debtors knew what we knew about bankruptcy, they'd file tomorrow, but they think they're going to be stuck for 10 years. So done correctly, as you know, those who are in our lead follow-up program, you get about a 22% conversion in the first year. So you put in 100 leads, you're going to get 22 appointments. Put in 1,000 leads, you're going to get 222 appointments. Those are the numbers, and we've seen this year after year after year. Okay. Okay. So the next thing is leads. You need leads. You need leads. Go ahead. You had something? Was there a question? Anybody? Okay, I'm sorry. Thought someone had a question. So you need leads. And here's the way I look at it, right? Albeit I'm biased on this because this is what we do, but this is what I believe. You need to get them and nurture them before they go to Google. Because by the time they go to Google and you're paying $150 or $175 for that LSA call, guess what? They've already gone, they've been thinking about bankruptcy for 3, 6, 12 months. They're there. How do you get them and nurture them before? I mean, this is what we do. And frankly, at this point, I'm just shocked that more people haven't caught on to this, right? So we generate, via Facebook. I mean, you've heard, if you're on this call, right? We generate these leads via Facebook. The lead costs are $25 to $35 a lead for an exclusive lead. Okay. Exclusive lead. As a matter of fact, I mean, I was talking to an attorney this morning, and his lead cost for Google, when he pays the contractor and everything, it's like an 8-to-1 conversion. And his response, he said to me, well, what's better, a Google lead or a Facebook lead? And I said, no, there's no question a Google lead's better. Of course it's better. They're typing in bankruptcy attorney near me. How to stop a garnishment. That's not the precise question. The precise question is, what is better, 1 Google lead or 8 Facebook leads? That was in that market, right? That's how I relate to it, right? From an email follow-up, as you know, it's $100 a month. Now, with regard to texting, we don't text. We only texting we do internally is for our Facebook clients. And the reason why we do that is I know I'm texting cell phones. So you're going to see when you start doing this with Text Magic or ZipWhip, it becomes extremely expensive, right? To go back to this email right here, this is like a 12-cent text. I mean, it adds up in a hurry, right? Because there's 3 points, it's number of characters. So if you're texting landline and they're not going through, it becomes very, very expensive. So what I do is I only text Facebook leads because it's the only way I can generate, I can get a very good response. And what you're going to see is leads to appointment ratio somewhere around 35%. That's right out of the gate, right? When the leads come in, we text them and we say, do you want to set an appointment? About 35%, right? Raw leads to email responses, 22% over the first year. I want to make clear. But more importantly, if you're not doing these things, whether you do it in-house or whether of us do it, put these systems in place for 2022. Because what I'm hearing from the phone calls I'm listening to and the conversations that I'm seeing happening with debtors, I know we haven't seen the wave. I mean, clearly we're not at the wave, but there's a bounce, right? But there's a fear happening in the marketplace from my perspective, right? It's a sort of like a mental fear of people. There's a certain segment of the population that just doesn't want to get back, right? They felt safe at home. And I think we're going to see a sizable uptick when this happens, when these people have no other choice but to go back to work because they have no chance. They're going to get evicted out of their rentals, and they're going to be tough, and they're going to have to face their fears. Right now, they're still coasting on everything they were given. Okay. There's one other. Did I miss the slide? Hold on one second. There's one thing that I typed in, but I somehow lost it. Automate this stuff. Automate it. If we're not automating the lead capture process, okay, I'm just going to add this in right now because I had it in and somehow I must have deleted it. If you're not it should be an automation from call center to lead follow-up, right? From your email system, right? Or it should be a call from your CRM, your database to the lead follow-up. All these things should be automated. There's no reason to do it manual labor. I mean, it doesn't make sense right now. I mean, we need to automate because when the market comes back, you're not going to have time to do the manual labor. Then breakage is going to happen. It's not going to work. Okay. So let's just open up for questions. And I just want to remind you, in December, we don't have strategy calls. Questions, thoughts, anything come to mind? Eric, Ronke, go ahead.
So you hit it on the head at the end as automation. And you and I have talked a lot lately because we're working on quite a few things together, and I just don't have time to do follow-up. And so I as you were talking, I kind of went and looked back and looked at I use Clio Grow to track my leads and what stage they're in. And I have quite a few categories, so I'm pretty laser specific as to where they are. And I'm looking at the list of consultations that I have done that I'm waiting to hear back from. And I wish I would have looked at this a little sooner, because I'm at about 150 clients that I haven't heard back from, that I've done. I spent an hour of my time, talking to these clients, and I just don't have the time to call them back again. And at the beginning of the year, I had hired somebody to do that. But then they got overwhelmed with other tasks as we got bigger, and so that role switched out. So I'm glad this was the discussion for today, because the last couple of days I've been looking at ways, okay, how do I find ways to automate really everything? I mean, not just lead follow-up and things like that, but automation in general and efficiencies. And I see Rich is on the call. He's been part of that conversation. But I mean, so what do you recommend there? I mean, I'm obviously part of your.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, the beauty is on those 150, I can just tell you more or less somewhere, maybe 5% of them have gone somewhere else. Maybe, I mean, not many have gone somewhere else. They're just not there. But for you in particular, because of Rich, hand those over. Let them track those down. Absolutely. Let them find those golden nuggets and just meet them where they're at. Right. I mean, they may not be ready, but when they're ready, they have a relationship with you. They're getting these emails, they're connecting, they have a connection with you. I mean, just, that's where I would go. I mean, Zig Ziglar said it. He said, you cannot prejudge a prospect. You cannot be in their head. And as collectively, as bankruptcy attorneys, I hear that often. Oh my God, they're debtors. Oh my God, they're not going to give me my stuff. Oh my God, they don't show up for the meeting. Yeah, I get it. But you know what?
I don't believe any of that, Phil. Yeah. I don't.
Great.
Because in my opinion, 90% of bankruptcy clients are no different than you and I. They just had something crappy happen to them. So I don't buy into that. That a debtor is any worse at gathering information than a business client or a divorce client or a DUI client. Yeah, I don't buy it. I think it's an excuse for people that can't figure out how to do it. And sorry if that offended anybody on here, because I've had the same problem. But back to what we were talking about. So one of the things we talked about was call center to lead follow up, and things like that. So that's what I was hoping maybe you kind of would expand on that. Are there services that you recommend?
Oh no, it's easy. We can do it. I mean, any type of automation, for the most part, we can do. Right. I mean, if it's really simple and we do like some Zap through Zapier, I mean, it's very easy. Right. If it's complicated, we got to build an API. We've built them before. Right. It all depends on what the client is. For us, we're software agnostic. Right. I don't care if you use Clio or Practice Panther or whatever it is. Right. But we just got to get out of like the manual labor as much as possible. And we are in 2021.
Well, and I don't want to take up the whole time. So, Phil, I want to talk to you more personally one-on-one, because we did talk about doing some API stuff a month or two ago. And Rich, I know you're on the call. I want to talk to you about getting those 150 people that I've already talked to back into the system.
Please send those over. Absolutely.
Those are low-hanging fruit for both of us to make money. So why the hell aren't we doing it?
Well, and the beauty is, Eric, I appreciate you being vulnerable here, because that's a perfect example. These people have driven in. I mean, you're in South Dakota. Some of them driven an hour and a half, right?
Right.
They've driven an hour and a half. They're vested. They may just need a little nudging and just be like.
And I just literally haven't had the time to do it.
Yeah, it's okay.
And I fully intended to hire somebody to call people, follow up with them, stay on them. And just with the way things have gone, they haven't been able to do that. So great. I don't have anybody doing that. So.
Beautiful. Great. Thank you so much, Eric.
Associates.
Any other questions or
I changed the
comments? I had any questions or comments you would like to bring up? James.
I have a question.
Yeah, hey, James.
I was wondering about the texting program. You said to make sure every text is different. Is there a way or some kind of program you recommend for us to have a texting program to send out these texts every once in a while to clients who don't hire us right away?
So Text Magic is easy to use. I ended up building our own software because it was just hard to integrate from our CRM to text magic. It was just confusing and just sort of expensive the way the texting platforms work. But keep in mind, you're with your Facebook leads, it's all managed, right? Like you don't have to
Yeah.
worry about that. We got that. For your other
Okay.
leads, I would, text magic is really easy to use. That's where I started to sort of like test this out. And I was just like, how do I make this work? So before I built our own interface, that's what I did. So text magic is easy, or ZipWhip. It's very user friendly.
ZipWhip, I got an email from ZipWhip. They're going out of business, or not going out of business. They're bought out, and they're going to discontinue themselves next
Oh,
year.
I didn't know that. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Start text magic. Text magic is very user friendly.
Yeah. And also, I was wondering, like every Facebook lead we get in there, they're already in the 720 system, and they're being sent these emails already.
Everything's done. There's nothing for you to do. Nothing for
Okay.
you to do. We're managing it all.
Okay. And I was wondering about what Eric was saying. He was saying like he was working with you guys or with Rich on developing some programs. Is that something in addition what we have already?
Well, not always. Like automation.
Yeah, automation, right?
Yeah, not
Something we
always.
work
It
with you?
just, if it's super easy, we can do it. Like, so for
Okay.
example, getting people into 720, getting people out, the problem is the complexity, right?
Okay.
If it's complex, yes, things break and we have to charge for them. If it's a one-off thing, like going from, whatever, your CRM, if we can do it through Zapier, it's really on a case-by-case basis.
Okay.
But just let me know if you have a question, James.
All right.
Cool. Cynthia, you had a question?
Can I use Ring Central for this lead follow-up texting? Because I have an intake person. Can I just continue to use Ring Central? Are you speaking of some kind of automated text that you send out, or is this?
So we manage it for your Facebook lead, we're managing it. For all your
Okay.
other leads, we're not managing it.
Mhm.
But, I'm sure. So Ring Central doesn't do blast texting. That's what
No.
they don't do that. It's all one-on-one. And it's not a good use for your staff's time. So you would need to do something like a text magic, can't do ZipWhip anymore, but something like that. There's a lot of opportunities out there. And
Okay,
just
so
make sure, I just can't stress enough the importance of segregating the data well, keeping the data clean with cell phones, because it becomes extremely expensive, very, very fast. So,
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's blast texting that the term is called, right?
yeah, we want to blast text. That's the whole purpose of it, because we want to save time, right? You want to send one text to 500 people and nudge them, just like be friends, just like you are with your friend, like naturally. Frankly, when I write emails, I have a friend in mind. Like if I'm going to write an email to Jocelyn, what would I say? Like that's how I would write an email, and that's how I write text messages.
Okay.
Can I add something here, Phil, for Cynthia? And it's not really related, but just because you brought up Ring Central, if you don't mind. So one thing that I have learned, and Phil and Rich and I have been working extremely hard on finding ways to be more efficient and create urgencies with clients to get things done as quick as possible. The one thing I would encourage you to use the Ring Central text for that I started doing is every time I send an email to a client, I send them a text through Ring Central that says, just so you know, I just sent you an email, please go check it.
Okay.
And I guarantee fivefold how fast they get back, because everybody has their damn phone in their hand in front of them 24 hours a day. And if they're like me, I check my personal email once a month if I'm lucky. And, so since I started doing that, people getting back to me immediately. So while I, like Phil said, not for what he's talking about, it's not going to work well for that, but absolutely don't underutilize the Ring Central texting to reach out to clients. And like I said, I have done every single time I send any type of notifications, communication, email, I send them a text message that says, here's what I just sent you. Or if it's a short question, I just text them instead of email them anymore. And I usually get an answer within 5 minutes instead of 5 days,
Oh, yeah, I use it for that with current clients. It's wonderful.
Yeah,
it's, I'm glad you brought that up, Eric. So we have, when people stop our lead follow-up, we obviously turn off the emails going out. And we recently got a call from someone, and the debtor just, the emails have been stopped for months and months and months. And we got a call, or no, actually it went on the appointment naturally. It was Rich was working with him, Rich Mack, who's on the call, and it actually just populated on his calendar. And Rich called me like, "Hey, I just got this appointment set up." Right. And I thought to myself, wow, it's amazing. The debtor just may have not looked at these emails for months. I mean, the emails have been off for months, but she at some point went back, reviewed the emails, looked at these old emails, even if it was 3, 4, 5 months old, and clicked on it to set an appointment. I just felt that was interesting. Eric, to your point, good idea. What else? Anyone else would like to bring up any questions, or if that's it, that's okay.
I think one thing, if you don't mind, just jumping in, one thing that I really liked is you mentioned that sometimes at the point of initial contact, the debtor is not emotionally ready to move forward with it. Yeah. And so that's one thing that I feel like me and my team have been very successful with, is getting them emotionally attached to the idea of the benefits and creating this mental image, and and then attaching emotion to what it would be like after they file bankruptcy, got the stress off of their shoulders. So I feel like that's kind of why our close ratio is high. But then in addition, adding the empathy part of it is, it's true. I have talked to hundreds of attorneys, and I can't tell you how many attorneys have always said, well, if they need to file, they'll come up with the money, or if they want to file, they'll follow through. But a lot of them need that little nudge to get in the right direction. I mean, a guy I talked to yesterday, he just got a letter of summons. I'm like, okay, how much are they saying you owe on this debt? He's like, I don't know. I was too stressed out to even look at it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. No, I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. And can I add to that too?
Yeah.
Rich, you're absolutely right. And so for those that, obviously, well, nobody else really knows besides Phil and Rich, but I started working using Rich and Mark to do intakes, and the clients show up, and they show up with their stuff in hand, and they are ready to go. And it's not about a question of whether they're going to file. It's how fast can we get this done? And so, we've had some emails about, conversion rates and things like that. But I mean, these people are literally showing up, either having filled the paperwork out, the worksheets, and bringing their pay stubs and stuff with them to the appointment, or, at least having the majority of the stuff there with them, and they're ready to go. And so these cases, they're not filing in a week or two. Yeah. Versus, go ahead.
Sure. Yeah.
You're saying when they after Rich and Mark after you get the LOIs and you meet with them, they come with stuff. One of the issues that I've had is that after Rich and Mark meet with them, I say, okay, we're ready to go. And they don't know anything about credit counseling, or they don't have their stuff.
Okay. Hey guys, I'm going to tee this off, because this is not the place for this. Rich, you can handle this offline. This is about lead follow-up, and I want to keep this like uber.
Can I just say this? If you guys are fine with it, if you would want Stuart and I to chat about what we've done, I'm happy to talk.
I mean,
so if you want to put us all in touch, we can chat later, Stuart.
Of course. Yeah. You guys can. Yeah, you guys can connect offline. That's great. But my point is I want to wrap this back. The point is connecting with people where they're at emotionally. And if they're not ready to file, they're not ready to file, right? It doesn't mean we're not like doing our best to motivate them on what the filing process is. And if it's in their best case, obviously we're not trying to talk anyone into a bankruptcy that doesn't, it's not for them, but we're giving it everything we have, but more importantly, leaving it where it's at, and they will come back when the time comes. Any other questions before we head off, guys? Okay. So just a reminder, we have no strategy call next month. We will kick back off in January. If any of you would like to do some type of automation audit or lead audit or whatever, we can just talk through this. You simply email me and let me know. And it's my pleasure to just be in your practice for what's going to come to be a great year in 2022. Thank you, everybody. Bye, guys.